Thanks for staying with us. This is Today with John and Helen. And before the break, we got quite a lot of hospitality from Chizoban and her guest, Initeme Eramosele, on the untapped potential of the hospitality sector and, well, what we can do to our GDP. You're still on to your TV show, a special family TV show with John and Helen, reaching you live on PlusTvAfrica, like I said. And next up is a taste of goodness in an interesting, innovative way. And our next guest, a reformer and a dynamic innovator and entrepreneur, Chef Jules, has carved a remarkable niche in the culinary world. With a solid academic foundation in biology and computer science from the University of Lagos, she further honed her skills at the renowned French Pastry School in Chicago and the Lagos Business School's Enterprise Development Center. Chef Jules is celebrated as one of the top 100 Nigerian female SMEs, making a significant impact in the food industry. Recognized by Bank and Entrepreneur Africa, I believe, she started her journey in baking over 2 decades ago as a hobby. Chef Jules turned her passion into a thriving business in 2011 with the launch of Cake Flair, specializing in high art celebration cakes. Celebration cakes, she'll tell us what that is. Her creations, however, have delighted many notable Nigerians. The growth of her business led to an expansion into box mixes and bread products, meeting diverse consumer needs. And during the pandemic, Chef Jules innovatively introduced Nigeria's first indigenous NAFDAC certified box mixes, including the award-winning Nutri-Sap, which replaces sugar with low glycemic dried coconut nectar. Her adaptive strategies extended to bread making, where she pioneered the use of domestic grains like millet, known for its high nutritional value, to reduce dependency on imported wheat. As the founder of Buff Bakeries Limited, Chef Jules continues to inspire with her product platforms of cakes, bread, and box mixes. She also established the Baker Moms community, and I love to join that, empowering women and children through food safety, design innovation, and market connectivity. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Chef Jules, whose work not only delights the palate, but also drives sustainable impact and innovation in the food industry. I am drooling from even imagining all of this. Chef Jules, do you have any life outside the bakery?
I think the bakery life chose me.
It chose you.
Yeah, so we're just kind of like 5 and 6.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we've lost a bit of time starting off. So I'd like us to, quickly pick the questions because I'm salivating already. Okay. So could you just tell us what actually sparked your interest in using millet as a base for bread?
This whole thing just started from the Russian-Ukrainian crisis. I think that was around February 2022, and there was this really astronomical jump in the price of flour. It went from 10,000 straight up to 25,000. Not like, it was just like overnight you wake up and it's quadrupled. So we just kept increasing the price of bread because we sell bread in our walk-in store. And I bought bread yesterday at 500. How come it's not so? So the guy just slammed my door, bam, and left.
Whoa.
So I said, but this is really not very wholesome to just come next day and then your price has gone up. How are we going to do this? So I just said, what can we do to kind of curb this whole crisis? And someone said, we actually import wheat from the Baltic region. And so once they kind of cough in that axis, we catch cold.
You catch a cold here.
So I'm like, okay, why can't we begin? Why are we importing grains? And Nigeria's staple, 90% of our staple, our wheat importation, our wheat consumption is imported from that region. It means that they control the economy pretty much.
Yeah.
So I said, what can I do to just make a difference? And my mind just went back. It just happened like my nerves connected with my childhood. My mom used to make what they call oka. People in Ilorin are familiar with that, like swallow. It's called oka. They mix guinea corn with lafun made from cassava flour and kind of like a composite mix of flours to make swallows. Why can't I try to use millet because my dad also had a millet farm.
Okay.
And Guinea corn farm in Okeoyi in Kwara State, Ilorin at the time.
That's where you're from?
No, I'm from.
You said to me?
I say I'm a full-blown Nigerian because
okay.
I'm from Edo State. Grew up socialized in the West, and so but my parents had farms, in Kwara State at the time. Okay. So I just said, why can't I just try and use those grains? Let's try and do a composite trail mix with flowers as well, with regular flowers. And that was like just I was just doing it playfully. I wasn't really expecting anything fantastic out of it. But once I did, I was like, wow, this tastes great. So I gave it to a few friends of mine. And I called together a section of Lagos bakers, gave them the sample flour, gave them the recipe, try, what do you think? They're like, wow, this is really amazing. And the kids loved it too. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. And that's how I started the journey on millets. And
really, that experience was that a few people have magic fingers. Whatever you touch turns to bread. Okay. But seriously speaking, could you now explain to us what is millet? What is this millet that you talk about so much?
Millet is a superfood. It's a grain from the grass family, and is in the genre of like Guinea corn, sorghum, and it grows extensively well in the savannah region of Nigeria, like Sahel Savannah, Sudan Savannah, Guinea Savannah. Like I said, I grew up in Ilorin, which is a Guinea Savannah location, and it grows very well. As a matter of fact, you can bury the seeds in the soil, and it can last a whole month without rainfall. And once the rain just touches it, it triggers germination. Yeah, so it's very resilient, very resistant to drought, and it is actually a superfood. So millet is really amazing. I call it a miracle grain because it contains all the essential macronutrients. And so if you even add that to your wheat, it powers it up. So I'm wondering, why aren't we looking at this option? I know government did try to do with cassava. I'm like, okay, government is going to be open to any idea that's can feed the nation because we're all about food safety practices. You want to make sure that people get nourishment from their meals. I'm like, millet is a superfood. It's almost like a powered up grain that you can add into any kind of food. And
okay,
it's really
so
amazing.
we have this power grain, for instance, that you're talking about, and you've talked about its nutritional values. Break it down for us. We're at the breakfast table now. Now tell me, will it give me more muscle mass? Break down the nutritional values.
Okay, now millet contains very high in antioxidants, high in protein, low in fats. It contains 6 times more fiber than wheat.
Why have we not?
I think also there's a colonial construct in how we think. We need to kind of start looking inwards. Who are we as Africans? What do we have? And if we start asking ourselves those questions, it triggers response to our environments. I feel like we are already blessed. We are like the food basket of the world.
We certainly are.
Even the first world built their wealth on our backs. So why are we not also taking charge of what we have and then maximizing it and amplifying, what we have? So it's really shocking for me. But I feel now that we're educated, many of us are educated, we need to start coming back to what we have and now bringing that to the table and say, you know what, we also have something to bring to the table as Africans. We're not just there to jackpot or,
or jackpot down.
We can jackpot down, come on. No, people complain that Nigeria is not working. I'm like, you are the change Nigeria needs. Come and contribute what you have. I mean, there are actors in the value chain. Without the farmers, I can't even do the baking with the bread. Without the transporters, the millers, I can't really work with it. So the entire value system, the value chain, or the ecosystem of that value chain, we need to kind of come together and close that gap so that Nigeria can be the greatest country on earth. We really have what it takes, as a matter of fact.
You know what? I'm tempted to move this chat to your bakery, right? So we can actually see you do these things. Now you've revealed some of Grandma's secrets. How she used to put this and that together. Could you explain to us the process of turning millet into bread? What happens?
Okay, well, first of all, you get the grains, and it goes through our own process, which we cannot share, IP process of converting that to flours.
Okay.
And then goes through dehydration because, the endosperm still retains a little bit of water. So you want to take that out, and then you now mill into powders. And then I do a composite trail mix, meaning that I mix it with other flours as well.
Okay.
You can mix it with soya bean flour, you can mix it with wheat flour. So it depends on what the customer wants, because I did a rich array of different options. Yeah, try it. What do you think? What do you like? So There's one we sell in my bakery right now. That one sells out by 10 a.m. in the morning. It's
I'm
gone.
tempted
You know.
to start my morning there tomorrow.
And for those who are really health conscious, who like, I don't want to eat too much sweetened foods. I want to eat something more natural. You know, so they're the ones who actually they actually subscribe to the bread. So they order every Tuesday. You know, put that out there. So it's a mix because really, if you check, does it rise? It's a gluten-free grain. I still have to mix it with flour to get the rice. Then we also have the one that we do with grain. That's called the gluten-free option, where you mix it with xylem husk or mix it with other binders that can create a rich, flavorful bread. So it depends on what you really want. It kind of responds to your needs. It's not really like cast in stone. You know, it can do very.
Yeah, but you see, sometimes we walk into stuff like this and then we find that it's bland. It's not. How does it taste?
Okay, it has a nutty flavor, nutty. You know, it has a rich caramel flavor as well. Also depends on how you, because sometimes I bake with jaggery instead of sugar.
What's that in English?
Jaggery is unrefined sugar. Sugar in its natural form.
Okay.
You know, it contains all the essential magnesium and all that stuff. You know, so we don't use sugar. Sometimes some people say I don't want to eat sugar at all. No sugar in my bread. So sometimes we use honey. It just depends on the flavor of the preference of the customer, really. So, but you can make it with sugar. You can make it without sugar. You can make it with honey or jaggery or other sweeteners.
Yeah. I'm trying to take note of all of that but it's something I can make by myself.
Absolutely. We also have the bread mixes for those who want to bake at home. We have everything mixed. Just add your vegetable oil and water, stir together, and then you bake. You let it rise, and then you bake.
Okay, like some of us are slow to catch on. Do you like kind of run a school of some sort?
We actually have a masterclass coming up very soon for those who want to have the full breadth of bread making on the 28th and 29th at the bakery. Okay. So people can join, they can sign, they can go on our website or go on our Instagram page and kind of come on board. As a matter of fact, we actually share the recipes for free. Really, okay. We share the recipes for free, so you can learn how to bake it.
I'll make sure I stop by and get the free.
And you can get the bread mix, which already has everything. Just pour into your bowl. Really easy because Lagos life is chaotic and hectic. I'm aware that people will not really have the time to go and mill their own flours. So we have the flours ready for those who might want to explore the option.
And you can get all of this done in the regular oven?
Absolutely.
And some of them they make in pots? You
can even use it to make things like pancakes. Even bake cakes with it. You can use it to make swallows like ball foods. Even breakfast cereal. I use it to make cornflakes. Mixed it with maize to make cornflakes. It's amazing.
Like they say, you're a woman after my heart. But that's interesting. How does it impact my pocket?
We don't import millet. As a matter of fact, Nigeria produced 4 million metric tons of millets last year from just 4 states. Meanwhile, 33 million from just 4 states. Meanwhile, we have soft wheat in Nigeria that we produced also, I think about 4 million in 13 states. So we have millets abundantly available in Nigeria. And a bag of millet goes for about 45,000 naira. And a bag of millet is 100 kg. So if you're looking at half a bag, which is how people normally package bags, that's about 20, is half the price of imported wheats. So it's very affordable, nourishing, nutritious, 6 times more fiber than the regular wheat bread.
You know, someone once said to me that the problem we have in this country is that we are too blessed. We have all of this and we're not making the most of it. Like you have your meal, wash your plate and throw the water in the back. By the time you come back in a few days, you see pepper growing without you having to till the soil.
True.
And that maybe we're spoiled, aren't we?
I think we're spoiled. And it's called adaptation. Whether I do or not do, it will still work.
It will still,
that's right. Because if you check abroad, see the weather, you can't afford to
work for it.
Yes. But here, everything just works.
Whoa. So apart from millet, there must be other ingredients that would have potential.
Absolutely. Fonio. The superfoods are like fonio, millet.
What's that?
Fonio is also a grain. You find that abundantly available in Plateau states.
Whoa.
We have lots of grains we've not really explored. My mission is to dig out those grains, experiment with them, try to see commercial values in them, and then put it out there for people to just try.
I think we should just start a crusade. We should start a crusade on,
The Eat Millet campaign or Eat
Eat-
Domestic Grains
that's
campaign.
a good one. Eat millet. So, I mean, could you share with us a simple millet bread recipe? Because I want to take something, I want to keep something from this chat, and I'm sure our viewers too would like, give us a simple recipe, from scratch. You have your secrets that you can't remember, but give us something that we can.
I can actually share that. I was saying we should kind of have a session where we
Yes.
actually bake. People
No,
see
we have
it.
to do that.
Yeah.
We really have to do that.
Yeah.
But we will need like an hour.
Okay.
If you can spare an hour,
I can,
we can
without
set
pleasure.
it up, and actually see you
Yeah.
do it. So could you give us a little recipe?
Okay, yeah. So
A rundown.
say you have like 2 cups of millet flour, which you can get from us. You can't find it out there.
I'll send you an invoice for that.
2 cups of millet flour.
Yes.
If you want to make it into like cookies, you can add oatmeal, just like 1 cup of oatmeal into it as well. You can add jaggery if you want it a bit sweet, or honey, or just like 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then add 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and say half a cup of vegetable oil. Mix it together, pass it down. You can use a ring to cut them out, and then
and to shapes.
Yeah, the shapes, and then pop that in your oven, and you have your cookies.
I'm thinking about the children going off to school with interesting millet.
The kids will like it sweet
They'll
though.
really love it. They will love it.
Yeah, they will like it sweet though, because I know
They'll
kids,
like it sweet.
Yeah.
But it means you add more jaggery, yeah?
You can actually use jam. Maybe stack 2 cookies together, put the jam filling, so that becomes a...
Whoa!
Yeah.
The devil has come for himself.
And you can try with Badagry jam, because that's the jam that's made with tropical fruits. There's a lot that
we can do. Actually.
Yes,
Boom.
a whole lot. And even this coconut idea, so coconut sugar, like I said, has a glycemic index of 35 compared to the regular sugar that has 65 that can spike up your blood sugar. I mean, we have coconut. Nigeria is the 18th producer of coconuts in the world. Yet the value chain of the nectar has completely not been tapped. So I'm kind of like, what do I need to do to get this thing out of the way? We need to really push this narrative and put our skin in the game to make these things work.
Wow. Okay, so as we wind down, could you? Certainly, it hasn't been rosy all through.
You can say that again.
Yeah. So could you just share a few challenges? Of course, there will be challenges you've had trying to put all this millet stuff, bread, and all of it. And how have you addressed those challenges? The
most frustrating question that comes with doing these things: does it taste like the real thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is the real thing? That's the colonial construct I keep saying. To you've been used to eating. You've acquired the taste. You need to re-engineer your palate to embrace millet. Let me say that. You need to re-engineer your palate. And if you do that, those who are in Ilorin will not struggle with millet bread because they're already familiar with, the whole idea of using millet to eat swallows. So they already have acquired the taste. So we're doing a school feeding program very soon. We're partnering with international organizations to go to schools and feed children with millet-based products. So let them begin to acquire, the palates or the taste for millet products. So that way, we can begin to make it easier for people to embrace it as a full product on our tables. So number one challenge has been people saying it doesn't taste like the real thing because they're not really used to it. The number two is things like the actors in the value chain were not connected. So we're trying to bring together advocacy groups, joint groups, smallholder farmers. We have a DGI, Domestic Grains Initiative, where we actually go up north to Jigawa, where I get my grains from, got all the female farmers together and say, okay, join DGI. What are your problems? What are your issues? So if we take that into account and we help you solve them, you too can begin to improve your agri practices by ensuring that they are smart, they're sustainable, and they conform to SDG Goal 2. So that way your production is responsible, and then you're not using additives or chemicals that can destroy even nutritive content of a product. So we are trying to make sure that there's enough backward integration connecting all the actors in the value chain so that we can speak the same language.
So, I mean, what would then be your strategy for promoting? Because you can't light a candle and put it under the table.
Well, like we're here now promoting it.
So that's part
of it. So we're also talking to FIRO, government agencies, other actors in the value chain, like I said, and the food sector, just making sure we put word out. And we are really pushing that narrative. I must commend India. India last year sponsored the International Year of Millets campaign. which was also pushed out by the FAO of the United Nations. So I feel like I joined the Global Food Challenge. My recipe was adopted in the UN Digital Recipe Book, which I'm grateful for. The whole idea is to make sure that we bring millet back to our tables. And India has been the forerunner of that agenda. Whereas Nigeria, we are the #2 producer of millet in the world. So we can push that as well. So I'm calling on government agencies to join us, other bakers to say, don't just say, I just want to hammer, I want to hustle. Try and make a difference with nutrition as well.
And we sure will make a difference. So the message today is eat millet, right? Absolutely. And that's from Chef Jules. Thank you so much. Interesting stuff, Chef Jules.
Thank you very much.
Here's hoping we all have learned new tricks, making something out of nothing. And truly, necessity is the mother of invention, like they say. I want to thank you for inspiring us so much on today's program. You're still watching Today with John and Helen, live on Plus TV Africa. We'll take a quick break now. And when we come back, John Senaya, that's me, I'll be taking my nugget.